Hello and welcome back to my dandelion diaries. Today I have kind of a fun video. Lovely Miss Laurie sent me some inks that she was willing to part with, and then also that she wanted to provide some samples of, and I wanted to swatch them for you guys because I like swatching inks, and I wanted to kind of have a documentation of my first impression of some of these because I've never tried the brand before, or I've never even heard of that ink itself. So let's go ahead and talk about supplies. Like normal, I have my A5 𝗦𝘃𝗁𝗍 notebook here with the original Tomoe River paper. I have a glass of water. I have my t-shirt that I've been using as like a little rag. My normal pipette. I'm using the condiment cup today. And then my 𝗏𝗏 brass tip pen with the aluminum handle. So Laurie was kind enough to gift me 3 whole bottles of ink, which I am very excited to open up for you guys. And then she also sent me 6 samples from Birmingham Pen Company, which has been the ink brand that I have been probably the most obsessed with as of the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 months. So I'm going to start with swatching the bottles, and then we're going to work our way through. She sent me this lovely little note telling me which inks are in the sample vials, so I'm just going to leave that there for reference. And yeah, let's just go ahead and jump straight in. So the first ink she sent me is DeAtramentis Pompadour Pink. And I've actually never heard of Pompadour Pink by DeAtramentis. And from the swatches that I saw online, I'm really interested to see what this looks like in person. So right off the bat, Pompadour Pink is much darker than I was anticipating it to be. From what I know, a pompadour is a hairstyle, and it is like a really puffy wig sort of look in a way. It definitely has a little bit of oomph to it. I would say for this ink, it's kind of a nice, I don't know, pinky wine color. It's much darker, like I said, than I was anticipating. So I'm kind of happy about that in a way. I'm not a huge fan of like super bright pinks, so I'm glad this one's a bit darker. I will say it does look like it's gonna sheen just based on the way the ink is behaving while it's wet, but we'll see, I guess, when it dries down. Overall, I'm really happy with this color. I do enjoy writing with a darker pink style, especially in like the winter months, so maybe I'll ink this one up for February. I don't know yet. The next ink she sent me is by Levenger, which is another ink that I have never ever tried. Actually, I don't have a single Levenger ink in my collection, and when I opened this up, I was really excited about the bottle shape. I don't know if I'm alone in this, but I think ink bottles are so fun if they're a fun shape or if they have almost like a perfume style look to them. I think it's so interesting that it looks like a little mad scientist Erlenmeyer flask bottle. Okay, so just because I'm documenting this for myself as well, opening this up, it has like a little ink well inside of it. So it has like a, I don't think I'll be able to show the side on camera without spilling it out, but it has like a little tapered, like ink well literally inside of it that you sit your pen in from the looks of it. Levenger Cobalt Blue, first thoughts, oh my gosh, just wow. And yeah, initial color, this is like true cobalt blue. It is like pigmented, pungent, like whatever term you want to come up with that is like vibrancy in a term, this is that ink. It is so incredibly pigmented. There is not a dull spot at all in this swatch or writing. It is just in your face. I really enjoy the color of this. It is, I don't know how to describe it other than kind of like jewel or like gem, like a precious stone in a way. It has a fanciness to it, and maybe it's just the shape of the bottle that's giving me that. I don't know, but it is such a very like rich colored ink in my opinion. And the last bottle of ink Laurie sent me is this one by Taccia. It is the Hokusai Koiai, as I believe how it's pronounced. And I am so grateful, Laurie, that you sent me the box. The box is stunning. I love having the painting of his on here. It is absolutely gorgeous. So if you ever purchase a Taccia ink, I really hope they give this the box for all of them because I think this is fantastic. I don't have any bottles of Taccia. I only have the samples, but she even left in the little card that has the little artists on here. Of all of the ones on here that I have tried the Koiai, and I have tried the, oh, I can't pronounce it. It's like 𝗪𝗠𝗪𝗫, something like that. But both of these inks are fantastic. So I'm really hoping this one's going to be another winner. So the Hokusai Koiai is definitely a beautiful, almost teal leaning blue-black color. It is so pretty. Much like the Cobalt blue, I feel like it has a richness to it, a pigment to it. It's very saturated. It does look like it's going to have a bit of a sheen already as it's drying in front of me while I'm talking. I would definitely say that the blueness of it, though, does lean more towards the green side. It's not as true blue, like neutral blue, and it's not super warm or I'm sorry, it's not super cool. So it's not leaning more towards like the purple or, well, blue side. I would definitely say this is more of like a tealish background. It's honestly even giving me vibes of like ocean depths, which makes sense because of the waves and everything in the painting. So maybe that's what they were going for, is more of like a deep ocean color. I really think this is quite beautiful. All right, so moving on into the samples of the Birmingham Pen Company inks that Laurie sent me. This one is number 1, and it is, I think it's Allegheny River Twilight. So the Allegheny River Twilight looks very similar, if not exact, to the regular Twilight from Birmingham Pen Company, just because of what I swatched before with the inks Priscilla sent me. That was one called Twilight. I wonder if they're the same, but they just have different names. I'm not sure. I know Birmingham Pen Company comes out with new colors and that they have mixable inks, and they actually do have one called Allegheny River, but it's a blue ink, so I'm not sure. Laurie, if you're watching this, let me know in the comments if the bottle is called Allegheny River and it's separate from the actual Twilight that they have on the website as well. I would love to know. Overall, the color of this, though, is a nice burgundy pink, dark pink color. Honestly, having it on the page next to the Pompadour pink is very close to that one. I think that's really interesting. I will say, from the looks of it, the BPC ink is going to have a little bit more shading than the DeAtramentis, which I think is really interesting. And it is also a little bit brighter. It has like a brightness to the back of it. So number 2 is Winter Garden Snowflake. Okay, so Winter Garden Snowflake is neon teal. That's what I'm going with, is neon teal. This color, oh my goodness. I had to take a minute when I first swatched, just because I was like, wow, that is insanely pigmented. This color is so vibrant and I love it. Honestly, so far this is my favorite out of the group she sent me. This is amazing. It has this rich, like almost cashmere teal sweater vibe to me. It has a shade to it that's a bit more blue too. I really like this one. This one's very, very pretty. It's definitely a warm leaning teal. It's a bit more on the green side, but it is true blue in some parts too. What a unique ink. Okay, the next one is number 3, and this is Alternating Current Tesla Coil. I think this one is part of their atomic inks. So based on the research I have done on the BPC website, the atomic inks, or atomic inks, I think is how they brand them, are inks that they provide that you can mix together to create some of their other inks. And I believe Tesla Coil is one of them. The way they have it named on the website, though, is just Tesla Coil, but from the way this ink looks on the page to me, I think this is the same. So Laurie, again, let us know. But this color is fantastically rich and blue. It almost has like a cerulean, like a dark cerulean color to it. From what it looks like it's doing while it's drying on the page to me, is it's definitely gonna sheen. It's gonna have a red sheen too from the looks of it, and it's gonna be a pretty high sheening ink. Maybe not too oil slicky, but we'll see once it fully dries down. Okay, next up is number 4, which is Cold Steel. Cold Steel is a beautiful, like almost black blue. I would say this one's definitely more black than blue in some areas. I do think that it would be considered a blue black ink, but I think it's more like an off black that's just a little blue leaning. I hope that makes sense. I do think the base color of this is a nice rich navy even. It's more cool toned. It doesn't look like it has any green in it. It looks like it's definitely more towards the purple side. I think that it has a very good black undertone to it almost. I'm interested to see if this one shades as it dries, because if it goes from like a blue black to a black, that's going to be crazy. But overall, based on what it looks like it's doing, it's just going to be a nice blue black ink that's definitely more towards the black side. All right, next up is number 5, which is High Voltage Insulator Voltaic Arc. This one is like Tesla Coil's warm-sided cousin. So I feel like this is the teal version of Tesla Coil maybe. It does look like it's going to have a sheen to it, and it's definitely more towards a green leaning base. I would say it's probably a pretty true teal, much like the Winter Garden Snowflake on the other page. It's very like greenish like that one. I think this one is absolutely beautiful as well. I think it's a bit darker in the center. I don't know if it has any shading yet, but the color of this is fantastic. Honestly, Laurie, all of these have been really beautiful and rich and vibrant, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy that you sent them to me. Okay, and the last one she sent me, number 6, is 𝗪𝗏s Island Ultramarine. And it looks like there might be some shimmer in this one, so I'm going to give it a good shake. Okay, so the color of ultramarine is vibrant, punchy, like cerulean blue. Again, I feel like this one is close to Tesla Coil, but a bit more blue, maybe? This is tough. It does not look like it has any shimmer, so maybe it's the sample vial that's glittery. I don't know, but we'll see once it dries down completely if there is anything like that. But overall, the base color of this definitely leans more towards the blue side, but it has a cerulean look to it as well. I don't know, this one's kind of hard for me to describe just because it's vibrant and it's rich, but it's also bright. Yeah, I feel like ultramarine is a really interesting name for this. Actually, you know what? It kind of reminds me of going to the aquarium, and you know how they have the blue walls inside of the fish tanks to make the water look more blue. I feel like this is a really close color to that. I don't know if everybody's aquariums look like that, but the aquariums by me definitely have the walls inside the fish tanks painted a bluish color, and I feel like this one is pretty close to that. Okay, I'm gonna let these finish drying down and then we'll do our close-ups like normal, but I just want to say thank you so much, Laurie, for sending these. These are all beautiful, vibrant blues. I was not expecting them all to be blue, honestly, and I'm really happy to have a couple of the pinks in there too. But let me finish letting them, oh my gosh, let me finish letting them dry down, and I'll be back in a second. All right, I am back. Everything is pretty much dried down. I'm gonna zoom you guys in and I'll do my best to describe what I'm seeing to you guys. So starting off, we had DeAtramentis Pompadour Pink. I love the shading on this. It goes almost all the way down to black. It's almost like an off red black in a way. And it does have a bit of a minor green sheen. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick that up, but it's a very beautiful dark pink ink. I quite like it. Next, we have Levenger's Cobalt Blue. It does have a bit of a wet patch right here, but it does also have a sheen that is kind of like a reddish, almost red-black. The pigment on this one is insane. Honestly, I would be interested to see if this one stains any ink, like or any pens, I mean, because you know there's some blue inks that do leave kind of a residue behind, especially on like clear transparent models. So I may try this one out in like my 𝗏𝘁𝗵 or my Kakuna or something and see if it does anything funny before I put it in a better, like a more expensive pen. But overall, this color is fantastic. Then we had Taccia's Hokusai Koiai, and I would definitely say this is blue-black, but more definitely more towards the teal side. It's definitely got a warmness to it. It does have a wet spot there in the middle, but it also has that kind of like reddish black sheen, very similar actually to the tone of the cobalt blue. I would say it does shade a little bit. It does have kind of like a few blackish patches in here, but the shading is not super substantial. But yeah, I really like this color as well. Then we had Birmingham Pen Company's Allegheny River Twilight. I really think this is the same as their standard Twilight, just based on from my memory of the other one. But maybe it's a little different in the shading. I'm not 100% sure, but it does have that beautiful shading of kind of like this dustiness to that darker pink color there. I do think this stands more towards like a reddish pink, maybe even a burgundy pink. It's kind of a hard color to describe if I'm being honest, and categorizing, I would probably put this in dark pink, but I guess it would depend on what else I'm putting it with. Yeah, just in general, I think it's more of a pink ink. And then we have Birmingham Pen Company's Winter Garden Snowflake. I think this one also may just be called Snowflake on their website. I was looking up these inks while I was watching them dry, and I think that they have other names, and then on the website they just have simple names. I'm not sure. And Laurie, if you're watching this, please let me know. I would love to have the correct information for this. I know I'm kind of just winging it here, but I really would love to know. But the color of Snowflake is this gorgeous, vibrant, cerulean teal color. And just, yes, it has a bit of a red sheen to it as well, and a little bit of shading, but not something that's crazy. I think in a broad nibbed pen, you would get more of the sheen than anything else, and the shading would look pretty standard throughout, but maybe you'd get some in like a stub. I don't know. It's not a crazy amount of shading. Then we had Birmingham Pen Company's Tesla Coil. Hello. The sheen is completely dry. I've actually touched it and everything. It's dry. I know my hands are blue. I'm sorry. I'm gonna use a finger that doesn't have anything on it. Yeah. So it is dry. It is extra shiny. Honestly, this is so fun to look at. I would definitely say that shading inks do tend to have a smearing capability. So if you're not a fan of sheen, don't pick it up. But just look at the writing. Look at it flash. That is so freaking cool. Wow, just yes. And the base color of this is again that kind of like cerulean deep blue color. Absolutely beautiful, and I really like it. I do think in writing you're gonna get sheen more than anything else, just based on what's happening here on the page. But overall, the color of this is really cool, and the fact that it's one of their atomic inks. If you mix this in with something else, I bet it would give a sheen similar to this and the other inks that you would put it in. Then we had Birmingham Pen Company's Cold Steel, blue black to black. It is so pigmented. This is dark almost. I really like off black inks, and I think there's a small community of us that feel the same way, that if it's solid black it's kind of boring, but if it's kind of like an off black, it's like, ooh, okay, it's got some interest to it. But this one has a, like I said, the off black towards the blue side, but the base of it is more of like a cool toned navy. I would be really interested to see if this shades at all, or if you're just totally going to get the blackish color every time. But I really like the tone of this because it's almost muted but still pigmented at the same time. I hope that makes sense. Then we had Birmingham Pen Company's Voltaic Arc. Holy crap, this one is another one like Tesla Coil, and I looked at the recipe for this one, and it does have Tesla Coil in it in the Birmingham Pen Company's website. So according to the website, it is 1 part Tesla Coil and 1 part gunpowder. So if you have gunpowder and Tesla Coil and you want to try this one, maybe try that out and see how you feel about it. But this is so beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And lastly, we had Birmingham Pen Company's Ultramarine. And honestly, I think this one might be my favorite. I don't know, this is hard to choose a favorite because all of these are beautiful, but the color of this really, I guess when I talked about the aquarium, it kind of like snapped for me that like this is a memory for me. So looking at this is kind of like you're bringing back those fond times of looking at the sharks in their tanks and like the big fish and the octopus and all that kind of stuff. It's just kind of like a fun memory type ink for me. In terms of the color of this, I feel like it's really close to nitrogen from Organics, but the sheen is not as strong. So the sheen on this one is definitely red, and it's not super shiny. It's more of a matte sheen, which I think is kind of cool. And I do like that you get some color with the sheen too in the writing. I think that's really fun. But overall, the color is deep and, I don't know, marine is a good term for this. Ever since I talked about the aquarium, it's kind of stuck with me now. Alrighty, that is it for today's inks. Laurie, if you're watching, thank you so much for sending these my way. You are so generous to send all of these, and I'm so excited to get to play with them now that they are part of my collection. But yes, thank you so much, Laurie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are interested in any of the other ink swatches or explorations I have done, since I have officially completed all of our ink explorations in terms of colors, I will have a playlist of that in the description and in the cards. I will say I do want to ask a question in this video, and if you like these type of ink explorations, please answer this in the comments. So the question I have, well, it's kind of like two questions. Question number one, do you want a second season of inks and by color where I can go through some other inks that I didn't show? Or question number two, would you prefer to see like different brands in one page? So for instance, like a page of Wearingeul inks or a page of Robert Oster inks, page of Pilot inks, things like that. So I'm asking that question. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll probably end up doing both at some point, but I just wanted to see if there was a drive for one over the other first. So a second season of colors or a page per brand. Let me know what you think. Anyways, I want to thank you for watching and for spending some time with me and these beautiful inks, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.